Hello, Louis Sauvain. I am here again to chat with you about this epic fantasy that, I can't get enough of these books. And if you have not gotten this book, anyone who's listening to this, go quickly and buy your copy of Thaddeus of Bewick and start down that epic story adventure. The maps are wonderful. This is one book that I want to feel in my hands because not only are there wonderful maps up front, there's pictures in between. It's a very, very exciting book to have. So I also recommend it as gifts for people who love epic fantasy. Perfect gift. So thank you for coming back today. I want to delve a little bit on that second trilogy that we have. So we had mentioned that Thaddeus is kind of on his own. He's trying to overcome his challenges and searching for different avenues to be able to do that and still keep his honor and still has challenges as he goes along. But he ends up playing a musical instrument that, as I recall, comes from a portion of a dragon. It makes it very special. Can you share a little bit about that instrument?
Certainly. The prophecy, which we've talked about earlier, part of it has suggested that in addition to the importance of the 4 points of the compass, each of those points of the compass must in turn lead to or produce some, in a particular case, a person or personage that will assist Thaddeus at the end, along with his companions. So the question arose as to how to get these persons, and I thought, well, why not just cause them to be children associated with Thaddeus, and how that comes to be. And so if you're going to do that, then you have to consider how do we get those children. And in this particular story, the way we did it was we had each of them come from a particular relationship that he got involved with. And one of these companions that he spends time with and a child comes from had to turn out to be a queen of dragons. Why not? So they have this relationship. They do care deeply about each other at the time. And then this particular dragon knows that she is going to die. She has seen her doom ahead of her, and she knows that she's going to die. So she tells Thaddeus and bequeaths to him, when I die, come on back to visit this place where they are again in about a year's time, and take from my remains the part of me that lies nearest my heart. Well, it turns out it's a rib, the third intercostal rib, I think. It goes over the heart on the left side. So he takes that, and then as he's journeying along, it occurs to him, because he has some background in music that his friends have helped him with, it occurs that he might try and convert this rib into a musical. It's in this case a flute. And he does that. And lo and behold, when you know, the flute has certain powers that he discovers as time goes on. And one of these powers has to do with that an interesting spirit he meets while he's in the land of the East.
And it's amazing. So as he is musically accomplished, and his friends, they actually have a band that they developed at the college. And, you got to do something when you're bored and you're a young person, so why not music? It's another thing. And they ended up playing ball too, with a very interesting ball. But, I digress into that. But they do have fun. They do get into mischief, and they do all of those things. So as he progresses in the second trilogy, and he's going along, he still has his mule as a companion, right? And for help and guidance.
Yes. The Sullus would not leave his side, and in fact, told the master Sylvestris at the time that Thaddeus was leaving the college that if Sylvestris would not allow him to accompany Thaddeus. He was simply kick down the stall door and take after him anyway. So the two are stuck together like glue, and throughout the majority of the rest of this series, and the mule ends up saving Thaddeus's bacon on a lot of occasions.
And also giving him some great insight on stuff. You know, he has his own little activities that he loves to go to certain places and meet certain other animals.
See, the problem was that his mistress, his long ago mistress, who cared for him, whose chattel he was to begin with, she happened to have certain witching powers. And Sylvestris came by because they were third cousins or something. But he came by one day and wanted to know if he could somehow rent the mule, a Sullus, to help him, carry his stuff along with him and everything. And so this woman thought that it might be interesting, or might be easier actually, to work with Sylvestris if the mule could communicate. Because of course at that point he was just a mule. So she cast a spell and he was able to speak, to verbalize, to vocalize. And so he got a speech and they could talk. Well, in addition, though, there were some unintended consequences. And one of them was that it allowed him, even though he was a mule, it allowed him to establish certain relationship of his own. And this did lead to certain kinds of interesting situations with some of the horses he met along the way. Mares, I should say.
Yep. So he's a little frisky, as they say.
Frisky as well, and this gives him a little additional point of view to help with Thaddeus as well.
So not only do we have an epic fantasy, but we have an epic mule to go along with it. I mean, so now I know that book 6, technically, or the third book in the second trilogy, is coming out soon.
Yes, in a couple of weeks.
And what is the name of that one for the fans who are listening?
Yes, it's called Thaddeus the Faithless. And the title, if you don't mind me saying, the title derives from when Thaddeus, in a way, is seen by his superiors at the college to have aided the demon. That wasn't really his intent. He had something else in mind. But when he was seen to do that, and he lost his belief as a consequence, they stripped him of his title of sorcerer. And because he had lost his belief, they called him the Faithless. And that became his name for a great number of years, his official name.
So the span of time on these books is, if you were going to put a timeline on it, is how many years?
Well, the first 6 books, I would say, would cover approximately 4 to 5 years from his teenage years up until the late teen years. Then there's a bit of a break that's covered in book 6, and when the curtain rises for the last 3 books of the trilogy, he is at that point now a grown man, and is called upon to make the final sacrifice at a time of great peril when the East decides to war upon the West.
I can't wait. And I just don't know how it's going to end. That's why I have to read the book. So, all right. So, to kind of help get everybody up to snuff, you could actually pick up any of these books. I know you could, and you could read it and enjoy it. But in order is, I believe, the very best way. You won't miss anything. You won't miss any of the timeline, any of the intricacies of the relationship building. Is that how you see it as well?
Oh, yes. Well, and certainly the publisher recommends that too.
Okay. Well, yeah. But no, they are great.
And purchase them all. Absolutely.
Well, now I also believe that these are available in Audible or audio.
Yeah. Yes, not only paperback and ebook, but yes, also they're all in the Audible form as well. And I know some people prefer that, particularly if you're going here or there and you wanted something to listen to, or at your house or home and want that, yes, they are certainly available that way.
And so you actually put these together using the virtual voice that is
Yes.
available, and that's a little different for people who want to do an audible yet don't necessarily have a narrator to do it. How did you find that process?
Fine. Actually to hear a voice reciting your work, particularly for the first time, is quite a thrill, actually. At least it was for me. And I know there's a lot of ego stroking involved, but it was really quite something. Now, of course, like everything else, you get used to it, but that was quite something. But what worked out well for me about it was that the service that was used to create the audible offered you a whole choice of voices that you could rely on. And you could have an uppercast British accent, you could have a down-home y'all accent, and so forth. Hope against hope, I had looked for James Earl Jones' voice, but alas, none was available so far. But there was a variety, and that was interesting too. But the only thing that you really had to do, well, you had to listen closely, but the only thing was certain names and their pronunciation. That was what, and if you found a way in your how in your mind you felt it should be pronounced wasn't matching up to what you heard, there was a way you could adjust that by spelling things phonetically. But other than that, it went very smoothly.
And I think that's great. So people who have a preference for paperback, ebook, or an audio book can enjoy this series from start to finish. And so where can people find this series? Where's the best place to purchase this?
Well, of course, our old trusty Amazon, where online you can go and get it, or of course Barnes and Noble or similar widely ranging networks like that, or your own local favorite local bookstore. Sometimes they will have them in stock. Sometimes you would need to order them, but in all those instances, they should be widely available. If not, then please get in touch with me and I'll stick a solace of
I wish you'd send a Celis over to my house because I love that guy. So where can people find you? What is your website address? Because I know you have a very elaborate website with lots of fun stuff.
Well, actually, it's Louis Sauvain is the website, .com, I think it is. And if you go there, we set it up so that not only hopefully is it visually interesting to you, and hopefully also information there that you would find helpful if you were interested. But there's also an attached Zodiac feature, which you could use to find out that if you were living in the world of Thaddeus and you could trace what your birth month was, because they're a little different in the book, in this universe, this alternate universe, you could find out what your horoscope sign was in that world, and not only find out something about it, what there's text, but also find out what creature represents it. And a lot of people have had fun with that.
And still can have fun with that because it's still there and they can sign up for your newsletter as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. And leave comments if they wish, like get out, whatever.
I like that. You also have a presence on Facebook. You can be found on X. You can be found on Instagram. Any
last TikTok.
Oh, okay. Very good. Well, I have had such a good time chatting with you, and I hope that your fans and my fans enjoyed it as well. And I look forward to talking with you again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.